What's going on, guys? JNC here with JNC Rewind number 13.
Bonus content, actually.
Bonus content is right. This is No Way Out of 2007. Of course, we did No Way Out 2000 for yesterday's show. Of course, JNC Rewinds Sundays at 10 a.m. Be sure to check those out every week.
Yes, sir. And man.
So this is, of course, as I said, WWE No Way Out 2007. Let's give a little backstory here. Of course, here we are in 2007. We did one 2007 show so far. Bit of a conflicted year for some. I personally, as one, did not have any real problems with it in terms of creative. There have been plenty of other years worse than this one for sure. But that's only if you really thought this is a bad one in general.
2006?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a perfect example right there. Yeah, but that's only if you really thought this was bad, which, I mean, I didn't, but that's only if you thought that. You as and everyone else. However, there are other incidents, and of course, a major tragedy, of course, that had taken place on the outside that could get you to believe that it was a bad year, at least for the company, and definitely in terms of public relations. But examples, of course, that are rather, obvious, for the time period, so I don't think I need to go into full detail on that, but maybe sometime later down the line we'll get around to it, but just don't really feel the need to go into that now.
Yeah.
But this would be the third pay-per-view event of the year so far, which for some may be hard to fathom, because prior to this event there was New Year's Revolution and the Royal Rumble, both of which took place in January. New Year's Revolution to me was kind of a lame pay-per-view. Like, to me, the Royal Rumble should always be the beginning of the year. That should be like the first pay-per-view.
Yeah. Who knows what Vince was thinking. Oh, we need something. Something that reminds us of our New Year resolutions. Oh, there we go.
It was just, for me, another way to make a quick buck. How there were three of them, that is New Year's Revolution pay-per-views, is beyond me.
It was 2005, 6, and 7?
Yep. I don't know, maybe someday for the hell of it we'll cover one of those for a JNC Rewind. But getting back to No Way Out 2007 after our little mini New Year's Revolution rant. At this time in 2007, we were on the road to WrestleMania 23. The main program here, at least for the SmackDown side, features the World Heavyweight Champion Batista and the winner of the 2007 Royal Rumble match, The Undertaker. This all began on the February 5th episode of Raw, where Undertaker would make his decision for who he wanted to challenge at WrestleMania for a world title shot. It was between Raw's world champion John Cena, ECW's champion Bobby Lashley, and SmackDown's world champion Batista. He'd wind up picking Batista as his opponent and would in the process deliver a chokeslam to send him a message. As for the Raw side, we have the WWE champion at the time, John Cena, and the number one contender, Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels became number one contender by defeating both Randy Orton and Edge in a triple threat match. And following this, both Shawn Michaels and John Cena would go on to defeat Randy Orton and Edge, rated RKO, to become World Tag Team Champions as well. So in the main event of this show, we'd see WrestleMania opponents versus WrestleMania opponents.
Main event versus main event.
Yes, world title match versus world title match. Batista and Undertaker versus John Cena and Shawn Michaels. So yes, this is, of course, done by World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. This event is from February 18th of 2007 at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. This was the SmackDown brand. This is a SmackDown branded pay-per-view, I guess. It's supposed to be, although it included talent from both Raw and SmackDown.
And ECW.
Oh, yeah, Raw, SmackDown, ECW, sorry. And your commentators for this event was both Michael Cole and John Bradshaw Layfield.
So without further ado... Actually, wait, one bonus thing. That's probably the only time, like, in ECW's tenure in WWE, I want to say 07 was probably the only time you can actually pick the ECW championship to wrestle at Mania.
Right. Yeah, I would think so, too, because
I don't think
06, it wasn't around. It wasn't around yet. It wasn't until, like, middle of 06 that it came back, the reboot. And then 07, yeah, you're probably right, because in 08, the ECW champion was in the Rumble match. And why do we remember that? Because we covered the 2008 Royal Rumble event. Go ahead and check that out. Of course, we did a whole string of those shows, so be sure to check those out. Cheap plug, number one. So then one last thing I was going to point out is, of course, the buy rate, which did 218,000, which is down from the previous year's buy rate of 220,000. So there's only a decrease in 2,000 buys. Not really... nothing to be concerned with, of course. It's not like it's a much larger drop, like 100,000, only a couple thousand. So it's really even barely worth mentioning. It's just now that we're doing these, I'd like to include the buy rate figure in there, just because I think it's interesting. So without further ado, let's get on to the card here. So in our opening contest of this event, we had a 6-man tag team match, which saw Eminem, Joey Mercury, and Johnny Nitro with Melina and MVP also versus the Hardy Boys, of course, Matt and Jeff, and Chris Benoit. So this was also the continuation of the Hardy Boys and Eminem feud.
Yes.
That, of course...
And I believe it was a start... I believe we were starting the MVP Benoit feud.
Yeah, because they hadn't had any feud going into this, so they were kind of like just thrown in there in a way. But so this is continuing that, of course, most notably... both teams, Eminem and the Hardys, had previously faced off at December to December of 2006, and the Royal Rumble of 2007 in the tag team matches.
Yep. But
also at Armageddon of 2006, both teams were a part of a fatal 4-way ladder match where we'd see the Hardy Boys spot, where of course they'd more or less shatter the face of Joey Mercury.
Yeah, that's like the most brutal face injury.
Oh yeah, that was
ever.
That was nasty. And Joey Mercury still at this point is still sporting the
face mask.
The face mask. So that feud's still continuing. Chris Benoit was the United States champion at the time, as well Jeff Hardy was the Intercontinental champion at this time.
So that's probably interesting to point out that the Intercontinental and U.S. champion were teamed up.
Yeah, they're teamed up. So yeah, because I never quite thought about that going into this. Yeah, so of course Benoit and MVP would take part in this 6-man tag with those other two teams. And both those men would face off one-on-one for the United States Championship at WrestleMania 23.
Yes.
Of course, that is another show we're going to be covering next month, and when we get into our WrestleMania selection of our rewind shows.
Yes.
And another thing I found out through research going into this is this match actually wasn't originally planned. Yeah. On the February 16th edition of Friday Night SmackDown, General Manager Theodore Long announced a 4-way ladder match between Paul London and Brian Kendrick, Dave Taylor and William Regal, Eminem, and the Hardy Boys for the WWE Tag Team titles, which is the exact same match and the exact same participants who took place in the previous one at Armageddon of 2006 in December of that year. But on WWE.com, they would announce that there would be a tweak in which we'd have the 6-man tag team match instead. And as for London and Kendrick, they would still defend the tag team championships, but instead it would be against Deuce and Domino, who were new on the scene at the time as well. One thing that I thought was funny is just how much during this is how much JBL buries Michael Cole.
Yeah,
he kind of did it somewhat throughout the show.
Yeah, he did it, and at the same time, Michael Cole can't really defend himself because at the time, apparently he had a cold, so it was screwing up his voice a little bit.
Yeah, his voice was just like he was just losing his voice throughout the whole
What's
entire
wrong with
show.
your voice? I have a cold.
So
maybe you just shut up. You just shut up and let me run the ship. The show would be awesome.
The first burial of the night was when he buried him for when Benoit's music hit, and all Michael Cole had to say was "Oh my," which I mean that's one of his famous lines, really.
Oh my!
So that was funny. Yeah, again, JBL always kind of buried Michael Cole when they were together in commentary, but I mean,
not as much in his second tenure.
Yeah, not as much, but yeah, his first tenure, it's like all he did.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he was trying to still have like that JBL character there.
Yeah.
He's like, the hell with the Spanish group? This is America.
Oh yeah, they loved having him make those racist, those racist American remarks and stuff.
Which we're not. That's just a quote from the show.
Oh yeah, no, we don't condone that here.
No, we do not.
None whatsoever. It's just that's just what he would say.
Yep.
And that's what they'd have him say.
And that's what he did say.
All right, so getting into the match, really good opener here, I thought.
Oh yeah, this was very good. They had the right group of people doing this match. That's how I feel.
Oh yeah, and this was obviously, of all the things that they did on the show, this is also the perfect choice to start out with.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I actually think, as it turned out, that tweak was obviously the correct move.
Yes, it was.
And since they're already including like Raw and ECW guys and like just everyone involved in this, like I figured, like, why not just have this great
And
match?
to be honest, the Hardy Boys and Chris Benoit, to me, that's like a dream team.
Yeah, they all worked well together. Everyone involved really
They all
did well. I think another thing that's interesting to point out is this is another JBL thing, is he'd really put over Benoit a lot in this match.
Yeah,
He'd have nothing but praise for him, despite being like the heel commentator.
yeah, that's another thing JBL would do though.
Yeah, certain guys he'd do that with. He'd never say anything about Benoit. He wouldn't say anything about Undertaker. Those are probably like the two that stick out most.
He didn't really say much about. I don't think he really said much about Batista. The only time really he did was probably that King Booker feud.
Oh yeah, probably.
But other than that, he doesn't really.
Mm-hmm. Spots that stick out for me is for sure the double German suplex from Benoit to both the Mercury Nitro.
All right, that's one flaw I got, because he says Michael Cole said he never seen that before, but technically, WrestleMania 22, Angle did it to both Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton, so technically he did see it before.
Yeah, and I think that one actually was better.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because Mysterio just went flying.
yeah, but
Yeah, Benoit didn't quite get all of it, but still the idea was there,
Yeah.
and it's still
it was still executed. But
Yeah.
I don't know why that bothered me, but he goes, I've never seen anything like that. Yes, you have.
Yeah, no, that's worth mentioning. Then there was the poetry of motion into the twist of fate, into the swanton. Then there was Benoit's diving headbutt. Thought for that moment that could be the end of the match there, but MVP would break up the cover. MVP would then try to hit Benoit with the U.S. title. Then he'd get poised into the crossface until Nitro would intervene. Eminem would look to hit the snapshot, but Matt would come in and save things for his partner. Then Chris Benoit would get the crippler crossface on Joey Mercury. He'd submit, and the match would be over. So your winners would be the Hardy Boys and Chris Benoit. 14 minutes, 19 seconds was the recorded time. 3.5 for me.
I gave it 3. I mean, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was a good opener. Perfect choice to start out. All right, so far so good. Then we'd have an interview with Crystal, Marshall, and Vicky Guerrero.
I mean, not to be like that person, because I hate degrading women, but she was awful.
Oh, you mean Crystal?
Yeah, she was.
Oh, no, her delivery was just not the greatest.
She was awful, and then she would like pause in a minute, and we're just like,
Yeah, I think she just wasn't the best. No, it's not necessarily degrading. It's just like she just looked like she was just struggling with it. That's all.
yeah.
But not really much to say about the interview. The next we'd have a segment with Finley and Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle was still being referred to at the time as Little Bastard. They both were supposed to be part of a tag team match later in the night against the Boogeyman and the Little Boogeyman. This is funny.
Yes, it is.
Maybe not in a good way, but it is funny. Hornswoggle would tell Finley that he's scared, and then
It's funny how he's not scared of the big boogeyman, but he's more scared of
the Little
of
Boogeyman.
his
Yeah,
size.
and then but this whole thing is really strange to me because the best that I could remember, I thought Hornswoggle couldn't talk.
Yes, I could have sworn to you.
Yeah, so I didn't remember any of that. So, but then Finley would place him inside of a dumpster to protect him, or a garbage can.
To be safe in there.
And then the Boogeyman's music would play. Then Hornswoggle would yell in fear and escape. And as it would turn out, the Little Boogeyman was in there.
No.
So, wow. Of course, that match would take place later tonight. Can't wait to get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, we'd have the WWE Cruiserweight Championship Open. There'd be 8 participants in this. We'd start out with Scotty 2 Hotty and Davari, which is interesting because I forget that both these guys are actually still with the company at this time.
kind of figured. I kind of figured Davari was still